Nascimento, and I'm a senior here at LaSalle.
My name is Michael Wu, and I am a senior business management and marketing major.
My name is Beverly Banks, and I am a senior.
My name is Anthony Berry, and I'm in the class of 2023.
Eric Robinson, senior.
Samaria Gus, senior.
Hi, my name is Hannah Paulo, and I'm a senior elementary education major.
Randy Guscott, international business major.
My name is Celeste Hunter Pines. I'm a senior and I'm majoring in health science and minoring in public and community health.
My name is Kaylin Watson and I'm a senior graphic design major.
I think our student organizations do a great job when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion on campus. Like, we're making this a top priority, making sure that we're including everyone in our efforts, whether it's student organizations like SGA, BSA, BAM. We're coming up with these different initiatives to make sure that our organization and our events is catered to everyone and accessible to everyone, first and foremost.
Well, when I first came here, there was no established Black Student Union. So I thought it was awesome that LaSalle allowed me and a few other students to create a Black Student Association, which I'm a founding member of. So I thought that that's a great job that they did.
Something LaSalle does a good job with regarding equity and inclusion would be our minority-based groups on campus, like MSU, BSA, and Pride.
Something LaSalle does a good job with regarding equity and inclusion is the bias report team. And just the different programming we put on here. I've noticed a lot of the people who know about it will show up for it, and it's a great way to kind of get involved on campus while also supporting different causes. The BEST team and the bias reporting team is really important, and it allows people to actually address the concerns they have.
So something that LaSalle does a great job with regarding equity and inclusion, I think that it's shown over the past few years that we're trying to be more inclusive, creating safe spaces and affinity groups for all, whether that's with housing, student organizations, and the appropriate spacing for these organizations, and allowing the collaborative environments within those.
Something LaSalle does a good job with regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion is creating a space for everyone. I feel like everyone can find their own spot at LaSalle.
So something I think that LaSalle could do better is for people who are not minoritized or face microaggressions and etc. on campus to have them really start collaborating and participating in events that really are beneficial for LaSalle as a whole, and to see that not only through students but also as teachers as well, the participation.
I feel like in the classrooms, I feel very divided.
Something LaSalle needs to improve regarding equity and inclusion is having these spaces kind of come together and interact. Everyone can totally find their own place, but I think it'd be really cool to see these different groups coming together more.
To improve equity and inclusion would take, I think, LaSalle a lot in terms of just the institutional buy-in. Of course, we have things like BAM, the Baseline Action and Momentum Committee. That has been a huge player as well in terms of really having a grassroots effort in terms of DEI on campus. But I do think making it part of our strategic plan as an institution and making sure that it's at the grass tops level moving forward. So top of mind as we think about the classes that we're admitting to LaSalle and as we think about the populations that we're serving, it's really going to be important that DEI is top of mind in the future.
I believe more investment, belief, and appreciation on all levels on campus in terms of basically making sure that everyone is inclusive and not being so apprehensive about it would be a great start. There is a lot of great people here on campus that is actually driven to make sure that everyone who may not possibly be represented on a daily basis gets that representation. And I believe that more people need to buy into the same type of energy, and that would make sure that this campus is progressing further and growing.
Something LaSalle needs to improve regarding equity and inclusion would be trainings for faculty and staff. I think there's still a lot of improvement to be made, especially when it comes to like bias or, for example, using proper pronouns and names.
Something LaSalle needs to improve on regarding equity and inclusion is kind of how we're promoting the bias reporting system. I feel like we talk about it and people know it's available, but they don't really know how it works, including that you don't necessarily have to be part of the solution if it's something you're reporting, and you also don't have to be the person directly involved. If you're a bystander, you are absolutely allowed to take advantage of that as well. And I feel like that kind of stops a lot of kids from reporting things because of the fact that they feel they have to be directly involved in the solution, which can become an issue and make them nervous to report something.
I'd say international students here at LaSalle face certain barriers just due to the fact that the population here isn't the largest. There aren't many like foreign students here at LaSalle, so I have a couple of friends who are actually foreign. I'd say because of the lack of diversity when it comes to that, some students might struggle to fit in or adapt to America in general.
I think that students of color or ethnic minorities will face barriers. Sometimes there could be discrimination from peers or maybe even faculty members that could make students feel isolated. So I think that bringing students together in accepting spaces is a really important thing.
I mean, I've talking to a bunch of students of color at LaSalle. I'd probably say that the barriers that they faced at first is trying to find a group of like-minded individuals that either look like them or think like them, because this is a predominantly white institution, and that's why we created the club. And I feel like one of the first groups that we had, we asked them like, oh, like, what have you been missing? Like, what are you looking for? Like, what are some barriers? And one of the things was finding connection with people of color and why the club was so important to them, because they finally had a space where they could be themselves and like get to know each other outside of class.
Groups of LGBTQ+ students often face barriers because professors can either be really good or really bad at using the pronouns that you want them to use, or like with dead naming and stuff like that.
I would say that would be our international students. I think that they really need more opportunities to have more events and just to be more involved on campus. I know we have our international student organization that was developed this semester, so I hope in the future they get to do more fun stuff.
I would say that, personally speaking, Black students do receive barriers due to microaggressions on campus. I know that when I first came to LaSalle in 2019, there were a lot more students of color who dropped out than students of color who will be graduating this year or next year. So I feel like talking to them and hearing their experiences here is kind of what derailed them in their progress and made them lose hope in education. So I would feel like that was a barrier that we encountered here early on and probably still do. It doesn't impact us as much anymore than what it used to early in our undergrad career, but this is still something that affects a lot of students of color here.
Just a lot of POC students, in my opinion, face a lot of barriers, or just any minority on campus. I think in the classroom, especially where I've noticed it, is professors might blow something off because they don't really consider it a bias, or they deny that it's a bias, and so moving forward with that, they kind of brush off students' concerns and blame it on something else, which a lot of the time it is due to biases in the classroom, whether that's between students together or like a student-to-teacher relationship, but I found that people just tend to brush it off and don't take it as seriously.
I would say Black students face barriers due to stigmas, known to be loud, obnoxious, and it makes it hard for us to connect with other identities, mainly white students, because we can't get through that stigma that they place upon for meeting us.
I think I would like to see an initiative become more equitable is regarding affirmed names or changing names as well as pronouns, whether it's on the Canvas platforms or on Outlook, something like that, because I know of a lot of students who have tried to go through that process, but it has taken a very long time. So I think if we could improve and make that process smoother and faster, that would be very helpful.
So a specific project I would like LaSalle to do to make it more equitable for students would definitely be similar to what we do at the IC3 with the Black Men group, where we all sit down and just have our own safe spaces. Maybe have that, but for anybody, so any general population that you can think of, just to have a certain area where people can go and just talk to each other if need be. I think LaSalle does a great job with like the counseling center and different things like that. So I think that would add to it and just help students, you know, feel more comfortable and have a safe space again.
I would like to see LaSalle, I guess, just make all of our interfaces more accessible for students, like in terms of Canvas, Starfish, stuff like that. Any of the tech stuff that we use, it doesn't require you to like put your pronouns or anything, but most people don't know that that's an option. And I just think stuff like that, like allowing students to change their own name on stuff like that and not requiring them to use their legal name because that might be their dead name now, would make LaSalle a lot more inclusive.
That would be something that supports students' accessibility. So what I mean is like something to help students pay for textbooks or supplies. I know we have our dry food pantry that's behind Cleanbill, but also just like advertising that more and like not making it seem like a secret so much.
Well, for some of our students is
a specific thing I'd like to see on campus for students who are struggling would probably be like something for Asian American students or international students. I've noticed a lot of people kind of discussing that and how they feel like there should be more Asian celebrations on campus, and just I haven't seen as much programming for international students, so it's just something I think we can do to provide those spaces for students on campus.
I would say probably a collaboration amongst student organizations would be great. Just bringing all of our cultures and our identities together. If we're able to do that like at least once in a semester, I think it would be great because it would make sure that all of us are, you know, being able to have that opportunity to appreciate other people's cultures, identities, and it'll be all in one space. So I think that would definitely be something great that would, you know, further diversity, equity, and inclusion here at LaSalle.
A really positive experience that I've had is going to the LaSalle You Belong celebration, which the Donahue Institute does like organize and everything. And what really stood out to me was when different members of the community, I remember faculty specifically, being able to give a welcome message in like the language that they speak, like other than English. And I think that that was a really nice way to show the diversity in the community and make people feel more at home.
A standout experience on campus regarding diversity and inclusion I'd probably say would be Queer Prom. This most recent one I just went to this past weekend, and it was absolutely amazing. It was just like a great space for people, like all people, to come together and just have fun, where there's like judgment-free zone, and just seeing people be able to express themselves that they might not have been able to at their high school prom was really amazing to see. So things like that, like big events where people can come out and have fun regardless of who they are and who they identify as, to be able to come and have fun. So
I think my experience as a LaSalle student may be different from a lot of people because I found a group that really makes the LaSalle experience a lot easier, a group of fellow Black men. And I think that the experiences that we've had and the things that we do on this campus, they really go underappreciated. So whether that's with BMG or, you know, BSA, I think we have a good group of leaders that have done a lot of things for this campus, that a lot of positive things for this campus that goes unappreciated, which makes it more of a somewhat of a negative experience.
One of the standout LaSalle experiences that I will take with me is the gender inclusive housing proposal that the Student Government Association proposed. That proposal went the extra mile in terms of changing the name from gender neutral housing to gender inclusive housing and expanded it across campus, allowing even more students to participate. So that was a really high level proposal that I was so proud of to see come to fruition, and then see the support of the senior management team, the Office of Residential Life, and various others to really make it happen this past year.